Hey everyone, don't forget to sign up on our website for all the latest stories at SaraACarter.com. That's SaraACarter.com. And you can get all the links to this podcast, The Sara Carter Show, at SaraACarter.com. Download, leave reviews. We love it. We love to hear what you have to say, and it helps us, develop more story ideas, things that you care about, things that we want to talk about. Today, we'll be joined by Republican Arizona Senate candidate Jim Lamon. I'm very excited to have him on the show today because, look, so much is happening in Arizona. I feel like it's very pivotal. It's going to be a very important state in the Senate, especially for Republicans. We got to get that Senate back, that Senate seat back. What's going on with his race against Mark Kelly, who was hanging out a lot in Russia, going up into space? No, I'm just throwing that in there just as a little bit of little fun tease in there. We will be discussing also one of the most tragic stories in recent memory on the border and the death of 51 people, 39 men and 12 women in the back of a tractor trailer that were discovered, human traffickers benefiting from Biden's wild border chaos, one that I believe has been implemented purposefully. And I'll talk about that too on the show. I'm also going to talk about the crazy travel issues. By the way, you can't even imagine, I'll tell you all about it, but I'm sure some of you experienced it with me this weekend. The airports were absolutely insane. The airlines were absolutely insane. 800 cancellations on Monday of airlines. It was absolutely the worst experience I've had in a very long time at an airport. And frankly, I put this right at the doorstep of Joe Biden. I think this is definitely the Biden administration has made just a complete mess of our nation. And, of course, weather, you can't control weather. Those are things that I don't believe Joe Biden has control over. He is not, as far as I can tell, have any remote superpowers, or is he a god? But everything else, yes. When it comes to fuel shortages, when it comes to the fact that there aren't enough employees, and the fact that he's running this country into the ground, certainly President Biden can take responsibility for some of this. We'll also explore how Americans can take back, listen to this, our energy independence. You do not want to miss this. Please follow and subscribe. Get all the links at SaraACarter.com. That is SaraACarter.com. And listen to this, while you're there, sign up for our email list so that you don't get shadow banned. I may be shadow banned, but you will not get shadow banned. And that's the important thing. We can stay in communication with one another, and I will be able to send you the latest in stories as well as our latest podcasts. You will always be up to date with all of our great guests. Folks, you know how much I love MyPillow. I love MyPillow products. I love Mike Lindell. I think he's a true American patriot. Well, right now, he is just giving, Sara Carter fans, the best offer ever. And it's on MySlippers. You get to save $90. $90. Listen to this. The regular price of these amazing MySlippers are $139.98. But blowout price, $49.98 with the promo code. And what is that promo code? That promo code is Carter. You got to use promo code Carter. What you do is you visit MyPillow.com/Carter. That's MyPillow.com/Carter. You get not only that, you not only get the big blowout price, but guess what? You have a 60-day money-back guarantee. You just can't beat that kind of deal. You just can't. Mike Lindell is a true American hero to me, and he has a great American product. Go to MyPillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221 for the MySlippers at only $49.95. While you're there, take advantage of the deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the BOGO extravaganza on bed sheets, MyPillows, and more. Visit MyPillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221 today for the most comfortable slippers you'll ever own, and get Mike's book for free. MyPillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221. So first, I'm going to start off with the craziness of my travel experience, which I know so many of you have experienced, and so many of you will experience, by the way, with this 4th of July weekend. It was, I don't even know. Okay, let me just start with, I made it to Raleigh just fine. So let's look at the positive side of things. I was on American Airlines. I made it to Raleigh just fine. Everybody's great. Love the flight attendants, love the people. Everybody was just, at their best. Got to Raleigh, North Carolina, a story that actually will be airing very soon on Hannity. Met with a farmer out there, enjoyed my time there, spoke with him, did not enjoy the message he was delivering, which is that we are going to be facing severe food shortages in the upcoming months. And that's something else that we'll be talking about here on the Sara Carter Show. And I'll be bringing him on. His name is John Boyd, and I'll be bringing him on to talk about that and Biden's failure to keep his word to him. So I'm out there. I'm doing the story. I get told I got to get back. I come back, get to the hotel, get ready to leave on an early morning flight the next day, and get to the airport, and it's just insane. I mean, there's so many people. People are lined up. They're piled up. I'm like, what is going on here? And I hear, oh, well, they're canceling tons of flights. Some of the airline folks are saying, oh, it's because of weather. And then other people are like, don't believe that. It's not the weather. It's because they don't have enough people to fill up the shortages. And we saw that with Delta. Definitely Delta had a lot of issues with pilots on strike. There were other issues happening across the board. A lot of them were fuel issues. I saw airlines, people were at the gate and they'd be like, I'm sorry. Even though they had more seats, they weren't putting more passengers on the flight because they only had a limited amount of fuel, I guess, and they hit their weight limit because they were carrying cargo as well. So, people just got stuck. Well, I get there and I'm thinking, there's no way this is going to happen. Sure enough, my flight is delayed. It's delayed until the last second. We end up, I have a connection flight in Charlotte. I get all the way to Charlotte. I mean, I'm tweeting about this too. I was tweeting that a couple of tweets that night, not too much. I didn't want to, I was just not going to fight. Who are you going to fight? The magical guy, the magical airline person that makes these decisions, the communications tower. I mean, the poor lady standing behind the desk, she doesn't even know what to do. And I'll tell you about her. She was just at the end of her rope that night. So I get to Charlotte and I'm thinking, I can't even believe I made it to Charlotte. And I'm like, oh, thank God. They were able to put me on another flight after all those delays. They put me on another flight to get home. And now that flight's delayed. And there's a ton of people there. I got like 5 people in, wheelchairs next to me. They're frustrated. Their families were frustrated. So you got people standing around. You got babies. You have little kids. You have all this, airport situation just so out of control. Flights are getting canceled. Then I realize I'm looking up online. I'm like, what's going on here? And I see 800 flights, 800 flights were canceled on Monday or whatever. And backups, people, not enough planes, people stuck everywhere, all across the United States. And I'm sitting there, and this is the worst part. This is the reason why I'm talking about this. So the plane, they keep delaying it. We're all just sitting there, like a bunch of, sheep. Just staring, just waiting, hoping for that one moment that it'll say, like the doors will magically open and we'll see the pilot with that hat and the wings and, we're going to get on the plane because it's already been like 5 hours, right? Now we're moving past 11:30 at night. We've already been there all day. Now it's, midnight and we're like, oh my gosh. The lady's like, look, I'm told the pilot's here. He's on the tarmac. They just don't have a gate. They can't get in, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, like a breath of fresh air, like everybody lets out this, moment. Baby's crying. Baby even stopped crying. We see the pilot. We see the flight attendants. They're walking. They look awake. They don't look like me. My hair is sticking in every direction. My eyes are hanging down. There's this wonderful lady whose family member's in a wheelchair. She whispers to me, hey, are you going to talk about this? Yeah, I'm going to talk about this. All right. And are you going to talk about the migrants? Yes, I'm going to talk about the migrants. So we're feeling good, right? We're feeling good now. We got the pilot. Everything's moving in the right direction. The lady behind the counter that's working the gate, she's feeling good. Finally, she can go to the bathroom. That's where I was going to get to with her because apparently she had been there for like 6 or 7 hours, didn't even have a bathroom break. She was just at the end of her rope, right? Pilot gets there. And as he walks up to the gate, drum roll, please. As he walks up to the gate, canceled comes across the screen. And everybody's like, what? There's some guy from like Jersey, like in my line. And he's like, what? What the fuck? What the fuck is that? And the wife she was in a wheelchair and she's like, just calm down, calm down. You know what happens when you get mad at an airport? They can come and arrest you. It's like a whole situation, right? People are like, this has to be a mistake. The whole line, it must be a mistake. It must be. It's already 12:30, mind you. The pilot gets on the phone. He goes, this is a mistake. We're all like, oh, whew, okay, it's a mistake. Pilot gets on the phone. He's talking to the mystery person that nobody knows, the person that makes these decisions, right? And then the pilot is like, he wants to run, right? He wants to run out of there. It's like that commercial, with the old lady where the cats are meowing and they got the cat food, and there's nothing left. And all the cats are like staring at her like she's dinner. That's exactly what this pilot looked like. He looked at all of us like he was dinner. And he lowers the phone slowly down. He goes, hey, I'm sorry, but they canceled the flight. And he takes off as fast as possible. He just makes a run for it. He goes as fast as possible away from the gate with all the flight attendants and everything. And then you can see people seething. Their eyes are tired. They're like angry, right? And then the lady behind the counter, who I'm like the first one there, she just looks and she gets a call saying, go to a different gate. I don't know if that was true or not, but she was on a call and they were telling her to go to a different gate. All of a sudden, everybody just turns their head towards her, stares at her and said, people are like, well, what's going on? What's going on? And she goes, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I've been here for 5 hours and I haven't even had a pee break. So I'm going. So she just walks away. And leaves this poor guy who's like trying to get people tickets. Now, mind you, this is already almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what we're going to do. They don't even have any rooms for us. Nothing. There's nothing. There's a big nothing. And I end up on the phone just saying, okay, I'm going to find a hotel in the area and I'm going to leave tomorrow morning. Actually, another lady showed up and she did give me a ticket for the morning hours. That was another delay. I don't want to put you through the hell of what I've been through. I know I'm already getting there, but it didn't end there because when I got to the hotel and I had a reservation number for it, gave them my credit card. I get to the hotel. The line is 30 people down and people are sleeping in the lobby. And the lady looks at all of us and says, I don't know why they kept booking you here, but we have no rooms and the rooms that we do have aren't clean yet and won't be ready for hours. Mind you, now it's 1:30 in the morning. So now I've given up hope in Charlotte. I'm just like, I'm with my bags. I'm exhausted. Yes, I do not travel with producers and everything. It's just me and my bags. And I'm like, I'm ready to cry. I call my husband, poor guy. He woke him up in the middle of the night, told him what was going on. And then I make the call. I finally find a hotel in the middle of Charlotte. And they gouged me that night for over $300. I get there, it's like 2:40 in the morning, 2:30, 2:40. I finally fall asleep. I have to wake up at 8, shower, get back to the airport because my flight's supposed to leave in the morning. And end of story, it's not even the end yet. End of story will be very soon. That flight was delayed. I didn't end up leaving until 4 in the afternoon. Think about that. Oh, wait, it was delayed. I didn't end up leaving. I get there. I get to Houston because I don't even live in Houston. And then I have to wait for another flight to San Antonio. In between that, I say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to rent a car. I call to rent the car, and guess what happens? They give me a car. It's amazing. I can't believe it. I get out of the airport. I take the shuttle to go get the car. When I get to the counter at Hertz, the lady says, oh, I know you have a reservation number, but guess what? We're not renting cars one way. So we can't rent you a car. And I said, how's that possible? I have a booking number. And she said, yeah, I know. We're kind of like the airlines. We overbook and we can't give you a car for a one way. So I don't fight with her. I don't. I just bite my lip. I get back on the shuttle, get back into the airport in Houston, go through security again, get on the plane, eventually at 4, And when we land the aircraft in San Antonio, there is a thunder and lightning storm. Mind you, I am doing Sean's show that night, and I have to tell everybody to meet me close to the airport so I can have the camera crew and everyone. And now there's thunder and lightning, and it's a storm, and we're sitting on the tarmac because we can't get off the plane yet. And I don't know what kind of, by the grace of God, I don't know what happened, but we finally made it 30 minutes later, and they had a way of deplaning us. Thankfully, I didn't check in any bags because all the people that checked bags in had to wait hours for their bags to come off that plane. And somehow or another, we were able to make the show. And I tell you, it was an important show for me to make because it was about the 51 migrants, innocent people that were in the back of this truck. Yes, they were coming in here illegally, but they were being trafficked by a human trafficker. And they were found dead inside a tractor trailer in San Antonio, an 18-wheeler. Yeah, that the temperatures inside that 18-wheeler went up to 170 degrees. They had no water. They had no way of getting out. They were locked in by these drug cartels and these human traffickers. So, point of my long story is that, yes, it really did suck. It really did suck to be traveling and, being bounced back and forth between the airlines. But I had water. I had a restroom. It was all first world problems. And by the time I got to my location to do the show with Sean, my hair was sticking up in every direction. Yes, I know you probably all saw that. I had my jean jacket on, very little makeup. There was very little time. I felt blessed and I felt lucky because at least I could get on an airplane. At least I made it. I was going to see my family that night. But 51 people lost their life. The bodies were stacked on top of each other. It was right there in San Antonio. It was only 20-something miles from my house. And this isn't the only time that this has happened. And I put the blame right on the Biden administration for this and on the cartels and the human traffickers. We have not done enough to stop this insanity at our border. We have not done enough to respect human life and to respect our own nation's national security. What is happening at the border should be one of the most important issues when you go to the ballot box, folks. Because not only are people dying, but that are foreign, that are coming in here and being trafficked, but our children are dying. Because from that border, the Chinese and the drug cartels are pushing billions of dollars of counterfeit pills, fentanyl tablets across our country, and they are killing our citizens. This is a war. The border is a war. It is irregular warfare against our nation. And our president, President Biden, is letting that happen. Think about that. Think about that. Just this weekend, the Del Rio sector Border Patrol officials reported that 2 migrants died over the weekend while attempting to enter the U.S. illegally. Agents apprehended just in Del Rio 3,000 migrants, while more than 1,000 more avoided apprehension. And let me put it to you this way. 800,000 illegal immigrants, illegal migrants, people that did not have the right to be in this country, got away from our border patrol, from our law enforcement officials, and came into the United States of America since Biden has been in office. Those are people that they did not apprehend. Only people that they know got into the country. Those are known gotaways. But we don't know who they are. We just know that they got in. That's more than the state of Alaska. That's more than the state of Wyoming. That is more than the state of Vermont. The populations of those states. That border is in chaos. That border is a mess. And I'm going to talk to Arizona candidate Jim Lamon about that, what he plans on doing about it, because I know Arizona is facing the same kind of chaos, the same kind of tragedy that we're facing here in Texas. But before I get there, I want to talk to you about AMAC. I love AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. It is probably one of the best organizations to fight for you, to fight for your rights, to fight for us as an American people, right? And for what we believe in. By joining AMAC, you're taking the first steps to saving the America that you love. And I'm not saying that lightly. AMAC offers an alternative to just about every benefit that the other group offers, but without a liberal agenda. AMAC's benefits can save you money and potentially a lot of it, folks. Take advantage of the many benefits AMAC offers to become a member. I stand with AMAC, and I hope that you will too. I encourage you to join today at amac.us/Carter. That's amac.us/Carter. The benefits of membership are great, but the cause is even greater. Today, join at amac.us/Carter. Hey everyone, I'm so excited because I have got Jim Lamon on with us today. Jim is a veteran. You know how I feel about veterans, as my husband is a veteran himself, and I come from a family of veterans who have served our nation. He served 6 years as an Army airborne officer, 3 of those in Germany during the Cold War, where he saw the stark difference between American freedom and communist oppression. I love this bio of his. You know, his focus is on Arizona right now. He's running for the U.S. Senate. Jim sold his company. He was CEO in 2021. He is an energy expert. He has ideas of how to bring water back to Arizona. You know, really innovative American here. And he is a good man and somebody who I promised I would go to the border with. And I'm keeping that promise. I'm keeping that promise, Jim. We are going to go to the border. And I do not believe the story, just for all of you out there, before I bring Jim on. He said that Brandon Judd, who's the president of the National Border Patrol Council, was crying the last time I had to turn down the offer to go down to the Arizona border. That I do not believe. But thank you so much for saying so. Jim, it's great to have you on the Sara Carter Show.
Sara, awesome to be here, and thanks for all you do to get out the message across the country. I know you're America First. I've seen you, and of course, we met several times at CPAC and other great events. As you know, Sara, that's the reason I'm running, is not as a politician, not as a lawyer, but veteran and a businessman, because we've got issues in this country that need real action. No more kicking the can down the road and just talking about it.
I think that really is, Jim, such an important point you make. You know, I've seen so many lawmakers they're all talk, they're no action. They do kick the can down the road. There are very few that actually stick to their guns and fight for what they say they're going to fight for. And I think the American people can see right through that. So you're making the promise that what you are talking about now, if you are voted into the Senate, you are going to keep that promise and fight for the people of Arizona and for this country, right?
Sir, absolutely. And that's why we've led in this race since the first week of March and just continued to build that lead. The people of Arizona are tired of just talk, and they're seeing their country slip precipitously, down the wrong slope over the last, year and a half. They want someone who's going to go to D.C. and be a fighter, someone who's not beholden to lobbyists or PAC entities. All the other candidates in this race, of course, are taking boatloads of it. I'm not taking a single dollar because I'm running for the American people and those great citizens of Arizona. Getting things done is what we have to do this time because, the left comes in and, they play hardball. It's, Sara, I played a couple of years of linebacker, Coach Bryant at Alabama. That's the way they come to play, and some of our folks come, in their badminton outfits. I'm going with full-on armor to go do what we need to do in this country and get things done, which I hope we get a great opportunity to talk about today.
Yeah, let's talk about Arizona politics because it's fiery. I mean, you got a lot of people too coming from California. They're coming and they're moving to Arizona. I know. I have family in Arizona. They talk about it all the time. So you have a lot of centrist lawmakers as well, people that are trying to play to both sides. You have Kirsten Sinema. For some reason, I keep getting Mark Kelly's text messages from, I am assuming that somebody on the Democratic side had my phone number before, and I'm just getting all of these amazing fundraising text messages from everybody, and in Arizona too, which is interesting. Talk a little bit about Arizona politics and what makes that so different, or maybe what makes it so similar to other states, right? Because we're seeing that in other states as well, where you just don't have one political party, where you have a lot of independents, and it takes a lot more work as a lawmaker, right, to get those votes.
Arizona is a freedom-loving state. We're not looking for a government to help us out. We like living the American dream out here. Mark Kelly ran as a moderate. He said all the right things, and a lot of people believed him, and he got elected. He's proven himself, of course, to be 100% with Schumer in 2021. He's moderated to 98% in 2022, but the people see through that. And again, that's why we're actually polling ahead of Kelly in this race. We're the only one that's polling ahead of him. And veteran background, business guy. People in Arizona want someone to go get things done, not kowtow to the left or to the right. They want what Arizona stands for: freedom, energy, bring back critical American manufacturing, get our mining moving more robustly, because right now we've outsourced it through Washington politicians and agencies to China. Right. Strategically very dumb. They want to see the military. This is a strong military state. We got 3 big bases, 4 smaller ones. We got a lot of retirees here. Love their military, just like I serve. They want warriors in their military, not woke, generals parading around as if they were, something to be admired. They're not. The American military is, and I intend to stand for them. The border, we have an invasion. Most of it's funneling now through Arizona. 52,000 a week coming through the border. I've been endorsed by the National Border Patrol Council. I spent a lot of time with these guys. If the people only knew how bad it was, they'd be in the streets in this country. And I intend to stand up for that. U.S. Senate, stop all business in U.S. Senate, Sarah, until we get that southern border secured.
I got to tell you, it was devastating. It was devastating, and I think you saw that, Jim. The 51 that perished, 51 migrants that perished in the back of that 18-wheeler trailer. And I was talking to Texas DPS about this and others. This happens every single day. I mean, not only do we have a national security crisis, which is, I think, for the American people, so significant and so important, but we have a humanitarian crisis at that border. And you're absolutely right. In Yuma, we've seen, almost every single nation has been represented crossing that border illegally by being trafficked by drug cartels and human traffickers, only to be picked up by U.S. taxpayer dollars and then distributed throughout the United States as the last leg of the operation. It's crazy. But when you talk to Border Patrol like you do, and you've been endorsed by the Border Patrol, they're saying they're the last leg of the operation for the criminal cartels.
You're absolutely right. No one comes across that border without paying the current fee of $6,250. Those guys, if they can't pay it, then they're indentured servants to the cartel until they do pay it with interest. The fentanyl death rates in this country, Sarah, are abysmal. More people since Biden came in office have died of drug overdoses in this country than from Vietnam War inclusive, all the way through every conflict that we've had since then to today. Just in the time of Biden in office, is the drug cartels are pushing it through the Arizona border. Brandon Judd and team report 80% at least of all the fentanyl in the country are coming through our southern border. It's all, again, a Chinese Communist Party teamed up with a cartel operation to intentionally kill Americans. Intentionally, Biden and team are playing right along with our southern border being open. I intend to do everything I can to stop it. Remain in Mexico in 2020, Sarah, worked. We had it down to 2,000 instead of 52,000. That's the law of the land. I intend to ensure I hold Biden and team accountable for putting it back in place.
That's great. That's remarkable, because I absolutely believe this is one of the biggest national security issues of our time. I believe that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government under Xi Jinping, has declared irregular warfare on the United States, and he's using fentanyl against our citizens. I mean, by these huge supplies of counterfeit pills that are dropping all over our streets and killing our American citizens, young and old alike. And I see an administration, the Biden administration, that has not only failed to change the policy, correct their wrongs, but has purposefully, like intentionally, made the chaos even greater. I mean, there's no way to explain why would a president of these United States want to endanger his or her own American citizens, right? And allow an enemy nation to do this.
Absolutely intentional. Open southern border, as was the debacle in Afghanistan, as is the destruction of our bountiful energy supply in this country. You know, all are working against the American interest. That's why, again, we're leading in this race in Arizona for U.S. Senate, because people in Arizona see it for what it is, as I just described, and they want someone who, they want their country back,
right,
just as I do. And Sarah, as I've said, I don't need a job because, again, I've been very successful in business with great teams that we built. But I'm not taking anyone else's money other than great small donations in mine in order to be pure in Washington to the people. Because we've got some serious issues like the ones we're describing that must be fixed, Sarah, or we're not going to have a country very much longer.
That I agree with you on, Jim. I know the current price of gas right now is a huge issue for all Americans, the prices at our grocery stores. But let's just talk about energy. In Arizona, the average price per gallon is $5.28. That's unbelievable for regular unleaded gas. Could you describe the effect this is having on the people of Arizona? And is inflation, are the energy costs the most important issue in your race, or are you seeing various issues across the board?
Number one is the southern border. Number two is inflation and the devastating impact on our blue-collar and working-class families here. The Arizona landmass is twice the size of Florida. So we do a lot of driving here in Arizona. And the issue is compounded, based on the number of miles we need to drive to work and things of that nature. But also because of this ridiculous, intentional destruction of our energy policy in the country. This could be fixed tomorrow, Sarah, and this is not something that they in D.C. on the Green New Deal side of the equation, Biden and these characters, have any understanding on. You're not a single one from Granholm to Buttigieg or Biden-Harris, Mark Kelly, have any idea. They've never spent one day in business. They talk a good game about their far left agenda, but it's impractical in practice to do what they're doing. We could get the price of gas, and as a business guy, I like to look at strategy and tactics of how we achieve goals, set about doing it, have some metrics to measure our progress. And Sarah, there's no reason in this country why diesel and gas should be over $2 a gallon. The resources that we have in the ground, we're the most bountiful known supply on the planet. We have the best facilities in the world to process it, including the cleanest, but also the best distribution system on the planet. There's zero reason for this other than the intentionality of D.C. and all the whack, woke rules that they put on the system. Could be fixed in a day. I intend to be in D.C. to start getting things moving fast in that direction as soon as we win this U.S. Senate race. Well,
look, Buttigieg can't even take care of bike trails. I mean, I don't even understand what he's doing in his position there anyways. It's a joke. The joke is actually on us. But what would you do in the short term to take care of this issue, this energy crisis? And then what would you do in the long term to ensure that we and the citizens of the United States don't find ourselves in the same predicament again?
Get back to drilling our public lands. We do it responsibly. This whole thing about we need to turn off the leases and stop bidding out contracts is anti-American, again, intentional. Then Biden goes off to Saudi Arabia to beg for oil. It's insane. Those are great jobs here. We do it cleaner here, and we have more oil and natural gas in the ground than Saudi Arabia does. And we were pumping and processing more before Biden came into office.
Keystone Pipeline. Get that Keystone Pipeline back?
All of the above. That's great Canadian crude. It's moving down. And, the environmentalists that run the Biden administration and the Marxists say, well, it's dirty, crude. It's getting refined in the cleanest place on the planet, and that is the Gulf Coast of America. You want to send it to China, they're going to process it, not anywhere near the clean processing that we do in the U.S. So none of their arguments hold water. It's all intentional. But we must get back to getting that relief for the American people, or this inflation is going to bring about a recession, and a bad one, if we continue this direction. But again, it's not, it's all intentional. We can fix it quickly. I've got 30-year background in energy, know it well. We've got the processing facilities. Could we use more? Yes. But that would also help us, Sarah, to start paying down the national debt. I'll give you that brief discussion. For natural gas, we've got 300 years of known supply in the ground.
Right.
I built some of the largest, most efficient coal and natural gas facilities in the country. I was in that field when Obama killed energy. I moved a lot of those guys and ladies over to large-scale solar, which is now very competitive, unsubsidized, competitive basis on large-scale basis. We then blend that. We can have 500 years supply of natural gas in the ground. Supply our own needs, then let's export. And that, when we export, let's add 30 or so percent excise tax. Let's put that straight to paying down the national debt as opposed to going to the Treasury.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I mean, look, we don't take advantage of that enough. We don't take advantage of that enough in putting our country first. Right now we're seeing it go last. Biden continues to blame Vladimir Putin for everything, blames him on the oil crisis in America, but it's President Putin that's benefiting from Biden's actions.
Right.
I don't think the American people really understand that. President Biden and this administration's actions are actually giving Vladimir Putin a leg up on the energy market worldwide, as well as China. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. No, you're not. Financing his operations because the price has more than doubled since he came into the office, which is a global commodity. And again, going around the world begging for energy when we have it in the ground in the U.S., it's just absolutely no sense. But again, these aren't business people. Unfortunately, even on our own side, the two contenders that are running second, third behind us are both lawyers. Zero business experience. And again, that's a problem in Washington. As a civil engineer and a successful business guy, I would be a rarity in D.C., but it's what's needed and what we can do to get this country back on track. In terms of coal, by the way, I just want to mention that, Sarah, the world's richest reserves are in Wyoming here in the country.
Right.
It is bountiful resource. China's building a plant a month. Let's sell it to them. Same thing. Put the 30% excise tax on it. They're going to get the coal anyway. We might as well get the great jobs and the benefit of balancing that trade deficit and paying down our national debt. Just need a business guy to go look at things the way they should be, like we have to do in our homes and businesses every day, and we get these things solved in quick order.
Yeah, but right now we know that the administration, they lack that common sense to do business, or in my opinion, they're actually, every action that they've taken has worked against our country. For example, earlier this month, President Biden was saying, he's declared a 2-year pause on tariffs on solar energy generation materials. And the press secretary, Jean-Pierre, said that she would move to help ensure that we have the solar capacity additions necessary to meet our electricity and generation needs. Well, but we still haven't resolved the crisis, the energy crisis in this country. What do you think of this decision? And the fact that they were even joking about, like, well, go out and buy yourself, get yourself a Tesla, but they don't even think about coal. I mean, it requires coal to run these cars, these vehicles. And, so they don't even make sense there. I mean, I just can't seem to grasp what the Biden administration is trying to do here.
Well, they're trying to bring down America. I mean, they're trying to, destroy our energy market, which we're the most bountiful in the country, or in the world. Go crazy with this inflation, which hurts every working American. This is eminently solvable. And by the way, the big solar power plants today only provide 6% of the energy in the country, growing at about 1% per year. We were moving that into the system very economically, about half the price of a natural gas-fired plant. It was working just beautifully, but it's never going to be the panacea. At most, it will be 30% of the U.S. grid. The balance will always be fossil that we have today. Nuclear is, again, too expensive, unfortunately. But it's a matter of looking at the economics for the ratepayer, the taxpayer. From a business perspective, that should be looked at from D.C. as their customers, not as the people they want to screw over. This is eminently fixable. Send someone to D.C., Sarah, that has a business background and understands it for the economics that it is to help the American people, as opposed to, as you said, just constantly trying to screw them over.
Right. Absolutely. I know the Senate race, this is a tough race on the Republican side. Explain to the listeners right now, because I think you're just a great guy. We were talking. I think you have you're not only smart, you're very personable. I think you connect well with the people when you meet with them. But explain to the listeners now, what's going to set you apart from the other candidates? What makes you different? What makes Jim Lamon different than everybody else? Other than I know your business sense is huge. I mean, that's like a big plus. But explain what you would do to be different from everyone else. And then we'll talk about President Trump.
I'm a veteran in the race, and also, as you said, Sarah, created thousands, tens of thousands of jobs in the energy sector in Arizona, across the country. I've done all of that by building companies with no debt and not borrowing money, doing it the way that our government should do it. Practical solutions. We've got 20 policies on our website that go from securing the border. Again, you can trust me. I had the endorsement of the National Border Patrol Council. I listened to them. Remain in Mexico policy, then finish the wall, etc. It's not about more drones. It's not about more staff. They have what they need, and they say it very straightforwardly. Listen to the experts as you do in business, and then go set about making sure that I lead and go get the job done. American manufacturing, critical manufacturing. Bring it back to rural Arizona, away from China. Mining. We're the mother lode of energy and of mining out here in Arizona. We need to get on with it and do it very quickly. Water. Only one in the race or in any Western race is talking about the real solution beyond conserving, and that is that we're short about 4 million acre feet in the Western states. The Mississippi River puts 200 million acre feet into the Gulf each year. Existing at the Bureau of Land Reclamation for 20 years, Sarah, or pipeline layouts going across the I-80 corridor from Davenport, Iowa, to the Colorado headwaters of the Colorado River. That's eminently doable, particularly in these days where we have the boring company of Elon Musk to even do it faster.
Right.
This is a process that zero tax dollars. You bid it out to private equity. This could be done in 3 years. We could have water flowing. Go underground. You avoid all the deeper processes, et cetera, that so often delay great things. Have water on this end. We, the ratepayers that are using the water, pay for it. The rate coming out the other end is about $700 an acre foot compared to what California today, for example, is paying $1,900. What we're about to be paying in Arizona is at least that, if not more. And if we can get it. So getting on with big solutions, Sarah, that's what the people are listening to. Our audience sizes are double in our meetings what they were even during the presidential election year when McSally was running 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Our conservative groups, grassroots groups are coming out. Oh my gosh, we have we're on fire out here in terms of people coming and volunteering. 1,200 volunteers. So we've opened 9 offices across this beautiful state. They've made over 1.1 million primary phone calls. That's why we're leading, because, again, a guy who's not beholden to special interests. I've sworn to 2 terms, going there to get things done and be held accountable based on those 20 policies that we've talked about on the trail, about getting those things done and put them on a website and do it just like in business. Go get things done.
That's a pretty brilliant idea. I've never heard anyone talk about that before, and it kind of was like a light bulb moment for me when I heard you talk about bringing the water and using the Mississippi. I mean, is that something that you would have to really work with the EPA on, or how does that work? I mean, you would have. I mean, is there something that's stopping it right now?
I asked the same question of the guys at Bureau of Land Reclamation. Said, Jim, we just never had a person in the Congress or the Senate that actually had the guts to actually go get it done. Say, this is an American project, and we're going to do this for America. Everyone wants to kick the can down the road.
Right.
We've got many issues in this country. Well, now it's gotten critical in Arizona. This was laid out 20 years ago. Today, Lake Mead, Lake Powell are going dry. We're going to be at what they call dead pool in 2025, and we're already under severe restrictions here and more coming because politicians that we think are supposed to be in D.C. for our interest are not. They're there for their own interest. They go there either on PAC or lobbyist dollars, as my two nearest competitors are doing in spades. They go there to get rich, make friends. I'm going there to get things done. And this is eminently doable. Will it need coordination and permits? Yes, but going underground saves a lot of that hassle. It's already been laid out, I-80 corridor. The water is there. The designs are eminently available. This is a very doable project and doesn't take that long, given it's only 35-foot diameter pipe, and the boring machine company can easily make that work. Particularly, put machines starting in in different sectors. We'll have water flowing in 3 years after election.
That's brilliant. That's just a brilliant idea. And I mean, I had no idea there were even plans to do such a thing. I think that's fantastic. As far as this election is concerned, there's been, it came out, we've got President Trump coming out and endorsing, as you know, Blake Masters. What was your reaction to that when you saw that, and what would your response be to that?
President Trump and Peter Thiel have a lot of good business relationships. It's their money. They can do with it what they want to. The president's free to make any endorsements that he wants to, but it hasn't affected our ratings here. We've been leading since the first week of March, and we continue to do so in building that lead. We're also under the scrutiny of who truly is America First. In my case, where we have been hiring veterans in the business that I built, 1,800 strong business, 1,800 great American jobs, have been helping conservatives all along, have been one of the largest givers to Freedom Caucus, Freedom Work, all the various grassroots organizations. Also, Sara did a voter registration project because I wanted to take on Soros. We did this starting last year. We just concluded that effort with 20,000 new Republicans registered out of a group that founded and financed. If you look at it from a standpoint of who the voters trust, well, that comes down to the law enforcement and the border. We have all of those endorsements. And Sara, they've never been unanimous before. They were all unanimous for Lamon. Masters came in last of the 4 rankings that they gave. This guy is taking $13 million from a Facebook board member and just, came back to Arizona a couple of years ago after spending 14 years in California, big tech, 34-year-old kid. It's not going to be pretty for him at the end of the day, but hey, that's business, and the president, Peter Thiel.
It's going to be Jim, it's going to be a fight. Yeah, of course. So because of all these issues, because we've seen what's happened over the last year, particularly at the border, and I would say on the energy crisis in America, inflation, it's incredible. Can't even buy a house now. I'm talking to people that are saying like some of the banks are looking at 7.5% interest or something. It's crazy, insane interest rates. Do you think there's going to be a big red wave? I know you see it in Arizona. Do you see that across the country based on what you're looking at on even just your own polling?
Well, we see a strong push. It depends on the turnout, of course, and people can't be, lethargic and think we have this. In Arizona, we do also have the potential not only in the Senate, which we will flip from blue to red with my win over Mark Kelly, but also 2 Arizona House seats. From redistricting and the work that we have done there, and the people getting out and having stronger campaigns and stronger candidates, we have a good opportunity in that respect. The other one, Sara, I could not be prouder of all our grassroots organizations here that I've helped fund and finance and support. How many we have running is school districts for leadership there, mayors, city council. We've been a little lazy in our side of the aisle with letting these progressives move into these positions. And now we've seen through COVID and other exposés how bad it is. And so we got a lot of great candidates running out here in Arizona. The biggest supporter of them financially and just generally, helping them in every way we can to make sure that we do have that wave in Arizona. Again, we've spent, 13 hours a day, 6 days a week for 57 weeks here, 1,200 miles a week across this beautiful state. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in the rest of the country, but I know this state very well.
Oh, I think it's a reflection of what's happening across the country. And you brought up a really great point. Before I let you go, I want you to answer this question, and then I'll go to my last question. But you talk about parents, about running for the school board, about how people have woken up, especially during COVID when we faced lockdowns and we faced, I think, government overreach like we've never seen in our lives. What do you think about the Department of Justice and, especially all of the cronies in the Biden administration that have gone so far as to call parents, domestic terrorists, to take over the bureaucracy and make the bureaucracies a political tool against their opponents? I mean, we're living in different times. I never thought I'd see this in America, but we really are. And I think that's why. And I'll let you finish this up. That's why the American people are becoming more vested in politics, more vested in their school boards, more vested in their children's education and in each other.
So certainly DOJ and big tech both have must be brought to heel. DOJ must be taken apart and put back together again with only the things that we must have in D.C. Everything else needs to go back to the 50 states. 9/11, we thought we were doing the right thing, but in giving more oversight to DOJ to kind of watch for terrorism, but they've obviously co-opted in the leftist Marxist agenda, just like they do everything, and are using it to not have the same rules for half of America that they do the other. That is going to tear our country apart. I intend to be strong on it. The Arizona Police Association, as well as the National Association of Police Officers, 250,000 strong, have endorsed me and actively raising funds and working on the campaign because they see the same thing that you and America sees. But also in terms of our First Amendment, Sarah, big tech, same way. We cannot have two systems for one censored and another not. I've had my ad censored by Facebook, which of course is sponsoring Masters in this race. That can't be the way of America. As a veteran and as a business guy and proud American citizen, I will fight for Arizona and this country to get it back to where it should be.
Hey, Jim, where can all of my listeners go to learn more about you and your campaign? Where do they need to go?
It's JimLamon.com. It's LAMON.com. You'll see the donation button, of course, but also look for policies. You're going to see strong policies on there that are, not just words. I'm not saying one thing in the primary, another in general, another in the Senate. We're going there, Sarah, to get business done this time, not kick cans down the road. That's why Arizona's been so responsive and for 57 weeks been steadily moving up and up. Took the lead in March and have not relinquished it, and we don't intend to. We look every day toward beating Mark Kelly. We're the only ones right now that are above him in the polls, and we intend to prosecute that because that guy must go. He is evil. He is not America first. This guy is everything but. Voting with Schumer. Flipping Arizona will flip the U.S. Senate, and we can stop this crazy march to Marxism.
From your mouth to God's ears, everybody go to Jim Lamon. That's JimLamon.com. Go to JimLamon.com. You're going to see all of his policies there, everything from, stopping the defunding of police to mandatory voter ID, signature verification. I mean, everything that we've been talking about on this show, everything that I know you support is right here. This is what we got to do. If we are going to win back our nation, if we are going to take back our country, we have to actively become involved in politics. We got to take the time to do that, and we got to support the candidates that are worth supporting, and you are certainly one of them. You're incredible. Okay, I am going to the border with you. I made this promise here on my podcast. Everyone's going to hear it, and I know they're going to write about it on my website. So you and I are going to go to the border. I'm going to make that plan. I'm going to contact Brandon Judd today, and I'm going to get out there. If you can meet me in Yuma, if you have time on your busy campaign trail, absolutely, I would love to do it. I would love to see you.
It's worth seeing it for yourself, Sarah, as well as American people, for you to report you do so well, because this invasion is shocking at 52,000 a week. We're losing our sovereignty, and thank you for what you do, and love to have you out here see it for yourself, sir.
Oh, I know. I'm coming. I'm coming back. I've been to Yuma many, many times, and I believe it's very, very important that we all do that. And I'd like to do that with you and get that on the podcast, and maybe do just a separate podcast on the border with you. I think that would be fantastic. Let's definitely plan that. So we all have a lot to think about, don't we? I mean, it was great, having Jim Lamon here on the show, and it's people like him, it's people like you that are going to make the difference in this country come November with the midterm elections, and then in 2024. You guys, we have to be actively involved. We've seen what's happened to our country. It's insane. And it's up to each and every one of us to speak out, or the crazies are going to run the asylum. That's probably not PC, but who the hell cares anymore, right? We can't be afraid to speak up. We can't be afraid to speak out. Remember, go to SaraACarter.com. That's SaraACarter.com. Get all the links to my social media and so much more. Sign up for our email list so that you don't get shadow banned. Again, thank you for being a part of the Sara Carter Show. Thank you for being a part of my life. I love your reviews. God bless you. God bless our great nation. And God bless the great state of Texas.